Hey, good morning, everybody. Well, good early morning, I guess you want to call it that. Um, Hopefully you can see me just a little bit. I'm not really sure if you can or not, and I apologize if this blacks out if it does. So, well, anyway, the 2011 Academy Awards, aka the Oscars, have come and gone. That's right, they are now history. And ironically, a lot of the predictions people talked about, ironically, some of the predictions myself and I'm sure a lot of people came up with came true and some of them didn't come true. For example, Black Swan only one award, and that was Best Actress. And hell, it was the only award it could get. Because when you think about it, it was going up against the nominees of Best Actress from Kids All Right, I think, um, Winter's Bone or something like that, Blue Valentine, King's Speech. And I think Natalie Portman's portrayal in this film, what she did in this film, no matter what you think about it, really helped catapult her to that number one position as the top vote getter to get this award in which she did. Now, I have a list right here of everything. And basically, one of my favorites that I was hoping would pull the upset but didn't, Toy Story 3 did indeed, as we predicted, as a lot of us that probably knew it was going to happen, a lot of us predicted, won Best Animated Feature, as well as I said it, when I talked about the Oscars on Saturday. I said it was going to come down to the two Disney films. One of the two Disney films was going to get it, and Toy Story 3 got it. For Best Original Song, We Belong Together. Now, of course, best support. Now, of course, Best Picture went to King's Speech. King's Speech, of course, is more of a, I guess, major independent film, which has been seen all over, and everybody apparently now wants to see it because even before before the tonight, there was a lot of talk about it, and it's basically a true story. So we'll see how good it really lives up to. And and that's another thing that really kind of gets me a little bit. It kind of irks me a little bit that I've noticed, and sometimes when a Best Picture nomination, a Best Picture is won, at times it's won by the movie that's based more in reality than it is anything else. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just find that kind of ironic. Now, if you hear any extra noise, I have my Xbox 360 on and I'm charging my iPod. So if you hear any extra noise, I apologize. But yeah, that's basically what it was. King's Speech won Best Picture, and I guess it's because of the fact, like I said, it's based more on reality, it's based on a true story, and Colin Firth, apparently, from what I saw, during throughout all the week, the entire 30 days leading up, the entire month basically, leading up to this night, Colin Firth did an excellent job portraying King George, so, that, not only did that get, King's Speech, the Best Picture nomination, the Best Picture award, but also got Colin Firth the Best Actor award. So, and again, Natalie Portman, of course, gets Black Swan. Best Supporting Actor went to Christian Bale. That's right, the new Batman. The guy that's been playing Batman lately for The Fighter. Melissa Leo, I guess, I don't know if she's the one that was doing a lot of publicity or something like that. I could be wrong, but to get herself the nomination and the award. But Melissa Leo won for Best Supporting Actress in The Fighter. Tom Hopper won Best Director for The King's Speech. And according to this, in total, in total, here are the movies that in total, individually in total, won Academy Awards tonight, basically Oscars tonight. Here's the movies in total that won for the film. King's Speech won 4 of them. Okay? Inception, 4 of them. Social Network, 3. The Fighter, 2. Toy Story 3, 2. Alice in Wonderland, that's right, Disney's Alice in Wonderland, not the classic, the reimagined version by Tim Burton. Alice in Wonderland won 2. A documentary feature went to Inside Job, it got 1. Black Swan, 1. In a Better World, short, live action short, 1. The Wolfman from last year got 1. And that basically is the 10, that's basically 10 of the movies nominated last night that won awards. Oh yeah, last night I guess you could say, because it is Monday morning, early Monday morning that is. Now best animated feature, like I said, went to Toy Story. Art direction went to Alice in Wonderland. Cinematography went to Inception. Costumes, Alice in Wonderland. Documentary feature, like I said, went to Inside Job. Film editing went to The Social Network. Foreign language film in a Better World. It was okay. Foreign language film, Better World, was not live action short. It was foreign language film. Makeup, The Wolfman. Music, best original score, music-wise. Social Network, best original song, We Belong Together, Toy Story 3. Sound mixing went to Inception. Sound editing went to Inception. I mean, they even had Salt nominated for, I think, sound mixing. Visual effects, Inception. Writing, adapted screenplay, went to Social Network, and writing, original screenplay, went to The King's Speech. Now, I want you to notice something there. I want you to notice something about these movies that won these awards. I want you to notice something. Now, the Black Swan and Social Network apparently, I guess, dominated the Golden Globes. But here, the Academy, I guess, you know, the Golden Globes. Okay, let's compare right now. The Golden Globes apparently honor both television and movie. Okay? That's basically the night to honor both. That's the prelude to the Academy Awards. That's the prelude to the Emmys. It's basically everything put into one. Now, the difference is the voting. No doubt about that. Now, here's another thing about the voting. Apparently, the people that voted, that were eligible to vote in these categories, obviously saw something that a lot of us, myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you out there, might have feared would hold back movies like Black Swan and Kids Are Alright from winning anything at the Oscars. Now, like I said, Black Swan won one award, got one Oscar, and that was for Best Actress from Natalie Portman's role in the movie. But everything else, it didn't win. Kids Are Alright didn't win nothing. Yeah, True Grit. Yeah, there were other movies too that didn't win anything, like True Grit. They didn't win nothing, and a few others out there didn't. I can't think of many of the others. 127 Hours didn't win anything. You know, The Fighter won an award. Basically, you know, I know Kids Are Alright are not alone tonight. The movie Kids Are Alright is not alone tonight in not winning anything at the Oscars. But let me explain why I think, because I've heard people praise this film. People have said this is a good film. It's got Annette Bening is superb in this film, in her role. But here's what I think held it back from really being a contender in a lot of the major categories, as well as Black Swan from being a real major contender in some of the other major categories, except for the one that it got the nod for, which was Best Actress. Again, I believe, just my opinion, I believe what held these movies back from really dominating and really coming forth and giving movies like King's Speech a run for its money. I think what held it back, you may disagree with me, I may get some heat for it, I may have people from certain groups giving me heat for it, but I believe what held what held Black Swan and what held Kids All Right back was the fact that Kids All Right was a mostly lesbian-based film, and with the Black Swan, as much as this may sound ridiculous, and it does sound ridiculous in the eyes of many, but as crazy as this sounds, I believe what held Natalie Portman's film down, basically the film she won Best Actress for, I think what held it down was one, its dark tone and portrayal of Swan Lake, but also I believe, this is just my opinion, and I'm entitled to it, and you may disagree, I think what held it back, because I believe if it wasn't for this, that Black Swan would have beaten out King's Speech for Best Picture. I think what held it back was that 5 to 6 minute lesbian scene that people have been talking about ever since the movie was released. That 5 to 6 minute lesbian scene, I truly believe, this is just my opinion, I believe that's what kept Black Swan out of the running from probably jumping over King's Speech to win it. I truly believe that's what caused Black Swan to only get one award, and the reason Kids Are Alright didn't get any because of the themes. Black Swan, of course, like I said, if it wasn't for that one scene, Parr would have dominated. There's no doubt about it. But I think because of that one 5 to 6 minute scene, and I believe because of the tone, well, not the tone, but because of the theme of the film that Kids Are Alright was based around, I think, despite what people may say, and again, it's my opinion, I may get some flack for it, I may get some heat for it, I believe that the lesbian scene, that 5 to 6 minute lesbian scene in Black Swan, the lesbian story that was basically the entire film for Kids Are Alright, I think that's what held both films down, big time. I mean, I have one of my sisters tell me that she rented the Kids Are Alright, and when she saw this, it surprised her what she saw. So I believe, just my opinion, that 5 to 6 minute lesbian scene people have been talking about since Black Swan was released in theaters, as well as the fact that the Kids Are Alright was mostly a lesbian-based movie. Basically, if you want to look at it in a way, it was like a more mature, more dramatic, theatrical version of the L Word. I think and feel that that's what held these movies back. I mean, if Kids Are Alright was, I guess, less lesbian related and more kind of like 50-50, straight and lesbian, instead of straightforward lesbian related and in tone, there's no doubt it probably would have been a strong contender. Same with Black Swan. If it wasn't for that 5 to 6 minute scene, it would have dominated. Just my opinion. Again, everybody has a right to opinion. I have a right to mine. And I feel that if it wasn't for Black Swan on 5 to 6 minute scene between her and this other actress, I can't think of her name right now, doing what they did, it would have won. It would have overjumped. It would have, basically made that one last, ditch effort to win Best Picture. No doubt about it. But because of that one scene, I believe it got snubbed out of Best Picture. Same with Kids Are Alright. If Kids Are Alright wasn't an entirely lesbian-based film, it would have won. Now I know you're thinking, well, that sounds ridiculous. Well, it's not ridiculous, because you got to realize something. You got to realize something. When the Academy Awards is aired, they're aired at certain times. Here in the West, here in California, it's aired at 5:30. In Hawaii, we're about maybe what? Let me see, 2-3 minutes ahead of us, 2-3 hours ahead of us. Let me see. Yeah, about 2 hours ahead of us. It's showing about 3:30 there. Okay? It's showing about 3:30. Now, think of it this way. It's showing at 5:30 here, 3:30 there, 6:30 in the mountains, 7:30 in the central, and 8:30 in East Coast. Now the East Coast could be an exception. No offense. No disrespect or offense. But I believe that the reason a majority of the time frames that the Oscars were shown live, at 5:30 here, 3:30 in Hawaii, 6:30 in the mountains, and 7:30 in the central, I think because of these other four time zones, with the exception of maybe the East, but with these other four time zones, with the exception of maybe the East, like I said, maybe not. Maybe the East is the same category. But either way, I think because of the fact that the Oscars came on during a time when it was still daylight, it was still technically the afternoon. Here on the West Coast, in Hawaii, it was just becoming evening. It was just like a half hour into the evening in the Mountain Time Zone, about an hour and a half into the early evenings in Central. I think because of those reasons, movies like Black Swan, because of its 5 to 6 minute deal, because of the Kids Are Alright being, its film having an entire lesbian theme, I think that's also what hurt it, because you got to remember, the people at the Academy, along with ABC, which is, believe it or not, a Disney company, or part of the Disney family, realizes, and this is the truth, that not just adults, but kids, entire families, watch the Academy Awards. As a matter of fact, entire families get together to watch the Academy Awards, sometimes at a relative's house. I mean, the Academy Awards sometimes, it brings families together, like say the Super Bowl, or like say WrestleMania, or whatever. It brings families together because it's one of those only events that everybody can just sit back and enjoy. And again, I think the voters in the Academy, in all those categories, along with the entire Academy institution itself, the Motion Picture Association itself, knowing that it has a deal with ABC, which now will run for another 9 years, they realize that ABC is a Disney company, is part of the Disney company. They know that Disney is a family-oriented company. And they also know that because of that, they cannot allow certain films to win certain categories. I mean, allowing Natalie Portman to win Best Actress, that's an exception because her acting in this film, in Black Swan, no matter what you think about it, I believe was good. I have to go with people. I have to go with people on it. But I believe, but I truly, truly believe, folks, that because of the fact, overall, I truly believe, in my opinion, overall, because of that 5 to 6 minute scene in Black Swan, because the Kids Are Alright had a certain theme, even to its film, it was the reason they didn't win as many awards. Now again, I do agree with you because you will point this out, they weren't the only ones that didn't win anything much. I agree on that. I agree they didn't win much. You know, I agree True Grit got left out in the cold. You know, I admit 127 Hours got left out. I admit some of the movies that might have been good got left out in the cold. I admit that. Winter's Bone, Blue Valentine. Yeah, I admit some of those got left out in the cold. I'm not denying that. Toy Story 3 for Best Picture, you know, got left out in the cold. But yeah, it won. It won 2 awards, but it got left out in the cold for the bigger one. But still, despite that, I truly believe Black Swan, in my opinion, I haven't seen the film, but from what I have seen trailer-wise, from what people have talked about, I believe, and from what I saw in the Oscars, I believe this film would have won Best Picture tonight if it wasn't, in my opinion, for that 5 to 6 minute scene. I truly believe it. And I truly believe the Kids Are Alright probably would have given it a good strong running, probably would have pulled an upset and won too, if it wasn't for the theme of the movie. Now you might say, well, wait a minute. You talked about all these other films like Alice in Wonderland and everything. How did it get rewards? Okay, first of all, Alice in Wonderland won for Best Makeup and Best Costume Design. Yes, those are important to movies, but those are like, let's put it to you like this. Those are like the mid-card of this event. These are like the mid-cards of the events till you hit the main event, till you hit the final, till you hit the 4 main event categories, or the 4 main event categories: Best Director, Best Actress, Best Actor, Best Picture. Until you hit those 4 main events, everything else is like a mid-card, or an upper mid-card, if you will, in like, say, a boxing or a wrestling event. That's what they are. Or even an MMA event. That's what they are. That's what they are. And, you know, that's why Alice in Wonderland, you know, nobody really complains about it that much, because it was basically a lower to mid-card category, or a lower to mid-card area of the award show. I mean, if they were nominated in the higher arc, in the upper mid card of this award show, or even the main event portion of this award show, then yeah, people might argue about it. But again, I stick by what I say. I truly believe that because of that one scene in Black Swan, and because of the theme of the Kids Are Alright, I believe that's what held them back. I believe if Kids Are Alright was kind of like 50-50 maybe, and that one scene was not filmed, was cut out, both would have had a stronger running. I believe Kids Are Alright and Black Swan probably would have been the 2 top ones to go at it for the possible Best Picture along with King's Speech. I truly believe that. But again, just my opinion, I feel that's what held it back. And again, also, I think if you add in the fact that the Academy Awards has a partnership with ABC, and the fact that ABC airs the Academy Awards at a time, like here on the West Coast, where it's technically still daytime and it's still the afternoon, and especially, like I said, it's still daytime, it's still the afternoon, which would be 5:30, and then you take a look at Hawaii, which is 3:30, and then 6:30 early evening in Mountain and Central Time Zone at 7:30, 8:30 might be, in that same category, maybe not. You gotta realize that the Academy knows that ABC would not be happy if they said, hey, you know what? We're going to give our overall top award to a movie that has a 5 to 6 minute lesbian scene in it, or we're going to give our award to a movie that's entirely lesbian based. Now, again, I admit the other movies, True Grit, Social Network, 127 Hours, I admit those probably would have been better choices than King's Speech. But like I said, I think they go with realism. I think anytime there's a movie based on a true story, based on somebody that was a real live person, they usually favor that because it would encourage not just moviegoers, movie fans to see it, but it would encourage everybody, families as well, to see it because it's history. It's historic. But again, I believe what held down, what I believe would have been the eventual winner, overall the eventual winner, Black Swan, is because of that scene, and also the fact that the Academy, again, knows that if they gave the award to a movie which, in a way, was a darker portrayal or inside look of the Black Swan ballet, not Black Swan, but Swan Lake Ballet, also add in the fact that this movie had a 6 to 5 minute scene, the Academy knows that if they would have said, hey, like I mentioned earlier, they know that the Academy would have said, hey, ABC, guess what we're going to do? We're going to hand over our award, our Best Picture award, to this movie, and it has this 5 to 6 minute lesbian scene in it. Do you think they would have? Do you think Disney would not? Do you think they weren't afraid that Disney would have been pissed off? I mean, I'm not trying to say that Disney is an overall control. Yes, ABC is part of the Disney family. But I think honestly, it's an honest opinion, that it doesn't just have anything to do with with Disney's ABC station, with Disney being a part of this, with ABC being part of its corporation. I believe overall, just my opinion, that would factor in, this is what I feel factored in. One, yes, you can put ABC, Disney's partnership with the Academy Awards in there. Two, you got to take a look at when it was aired, the broadcast time of when it was aired live. 5:30 here, 3:30 in Hawaii, 6:30 in the mountains, 7:30 Central. East Coast may be an exception, maybe not. But then you take a look at what I feel was the number one de facto, or the number one fact, if you will, that held what I definitely would have saw as the eventual winner down. Along with one that would have definitely been a strong contender and maybe an upset winner, I believe what held them down was that 5 to 6 minute scene and the fact that the Kids Are Alright was entirely lesbian based film. I think that's what held them down, along with the other things that I mentioned. So, but overall, the Academy Awards this year was pretty good. James Franco and Anne Hathaway did a great job with the hosting. They definitely brought the humor and everything, so definitely a good choice. I hope they come back next year and host. So, but yeah, definitely they definitely did a great job hosting. It was a great surprise seeing Celine Dion there doing her rendition of Smile, of the song Smile, during the memoir, the memory video, the in memory video that they did. It was nice to see Halle Berry there paying homage to Lana Horne. So overall, it was just great. I also loved how they used the technology, if you will, to kind of give us a sneak peek of what the first Academy Awards televised would look like, with Bob Host as the host and everything. I love how they used that. I love how it helped him kind of I love how they made it look like he was interacting at the beginning with Billy Crystal, who was a delight to see there as well. So overall, I definitely give it a maybe a 9 out of 10. You know, it's a little high, but I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Probably one of the better Academy Award shows I have seen in years. Again, I only wish Toy Story 3, but again, you know, like I said in my other two videos where I talked about this, or other three videos, I just wish Toy Story 3 would have walked out with an upset victory, but it didn't, but still, it got 2 awards. That's great. Best Animated Feature, Best Original Song, and again, like I said, I feel that the eventual winner, what I feel would have been the eventual winner, Black Swan, I believe would held it back, and I believe would held Kids All Right back from probably pulling an upset, if not being in the top category, maybe one of the top 3 films of the year, behind the eventual winner, either King's Speech or Black Swan. I believe, again, in closing, I believe what held these two things back was what they had. The 5 to 6 minute lesbian scene, as well as the lesbian themed atmosphere, and basically the fact that Kids Worldwide was a lesbian based film. Now again, in closing, I'm not trying to say this because I want to get heat or flack. It's just what I feel. It's just my opinions. You can disagree with that. And that's all I'm going to say. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you all later.